How about what do you think about these tariffs?
I think that is of great concern.
Yeah.
China is quite willing to steal every job we have, to be incredibly unfair in all their trading. But with Mexico and Canada, we actually do quite well. And Louisiana in particular, we have lots of jobs related to our port facilities, and then Louisiana has a positive balance of trade with Canada and Mexico. We just depend upon international trade, so I am a little bit nervous about this.
Yeah, same thing. Like I agree with what you're doing about China. They are ruthless.
They are,
and then
and they have no ethics.
Yes.
They will deceive and cheat.
This used to be shot
so,
like a regular interview,
but we
so
shouldn't throw Mexico and Canada and EU in.
This is your local election headquarters.
Welcome back, everyone. We have Senator Bill Cassidy here with us, filling us in on some exciting news regarding the Comey River diversion plan. Good morning.
Good morning.
So this obviously has been in the talks for decades now. What do you think is to blame for the long wait to get it moving?
Funding and the lack of it. There was actually a portion of the Comey diversion that has been built, but afterwards there just wasn't the funding there to complete it. That said, on a local level, we've had a millage in Ascension, Livingston, and East Baton Rouge to pay for the local share, but the federal funding has not been there. Now we have $343 million, which is the entirety of the funding, both federal and state, to complete the project.
And that is good news. So what do you think brought this argument to fruition? What was there one thing that made the change?
No, there's not one thing. It's the fact that others, and me included, I've been working on this since I was in the House of Representatives and trying to push it forward. The great floods of 2016 highlighted the issue. When we had all the flooding from the hurricanes the last couple of years, Harvey and Irma and Maria, we in Louisiana said, wait, don't forget. In 2016, we had our tragedy, and we're able to get money that was also going to those states to have Louisiana included so that our needs also met.
And of course, flooding is a big issue pretty much anyone in Louisiana. It's just bound to happen at some point. Do you think we'll see flood insurance costs go down as a result of this new plan?
Flood insurance costs will go down. I was able to get legislation a couple of years ago that if there is going to be a planned improvement in flood mitigation, that your rate should reflect that planned improvement. And so now that we have it on the books, then folks can begin to see their flood insurance rates go down.
And I know that's good news for a lot of people here in Louisiana. Are there any other parts of this project that are going to be funded through this deal? Any other projects?
Oh yeah, there's another tranche of dollars, if you will, to help things not related directly to the co-meet, but to help others. So for example, I grew up in Westminster. Our backyard went out to Wards Creek. With all the development over the last 60 years, Wards Creek is now, as deep as it is, more likely to flood. And so there's also a large sum of money to help take care of all those other creeks in East Baton Rouge Parish that would feed, like Jones Creek, Wards Creek, etc., into the Amite and Bayou Manchac, and to see what we can do to make those less likely to flood.
And with this plan, with these new projects, what is that going to require from the taxpayer? What are we going to feel through this plan?
So the Ascension, Livingston, and East Baton Rouge have been paying a millage for years for local match when it comes to the co-meet diversion. So we've actually been putting dollars forward already. But on the state level, the amount of money we put forward in the federal budget takes care of the state and the federal share. And so it's actually a little bit of a relief upon the state taxpayer.
And the widely projected timeline for completing this co-meet canal has been 4 years. Do you think that's a feasible time period?
Well, the big portion of it where it goes down to the Mississippi has already been completed. 4 years might be aggressive, but let's push it. Let's see if we can do it.
Give them a run for their money.
Yeah, Louisiana's had more than its fair share of flood events recently, and the sooner we get it completed, the better.
Awesome. And are there any other items you think the federal government has yet to address when it comes to flood protection in our area?
You know, one thing that we can say on any big project like this is we have to speed up permitting. And one thing the Trump administration has been very committed to is how do we speed permitting? Instead of 10 years to get something permitted, by which time maybe things have changed, to get it done within 2 years. And so I will say that not just for this co-meet project or for that may do the tributaries to the Amite, but throughout South Louisiana and North Louisiana, we need to have a more efficient permitting process to get the project completed more quickly. And that's going to be critical as well.
And why is this project so important, you know, to Louisianians? Look
at the Great Flood of 2016. How many people were affected? I think it turned out to be like the 4th most expensive flood event in the history of the United States. And that's the reason we're able to get this done, is we've continued to push that. But aside from pushing it and getting the money, we are having more flood events over the last 20 or 30 years. Sea levels are rising. The combination of that makes our state more likely to flood. We've got to get this completed to lower that risk.
And just real quick to fill people in if they're not sure exactly what this plan is, can you explain what this new plan is or where we're at now in the plan?
Yeah, so it diverts high waters from the co-meet to the Mississippi. And if you take off from the Baton Rouge Airport, you'll see that there's a spillway completed just north of Baton Rouge where it goes into the Mississippi River. Big concrete spillway. That's going to be eventually connected to a pathway that goes all the way over to the co-meet. Again, floodwaters go above a certain height, it will spill over and go out the Mississippi, protecting communities downstream like Baker and Central.
And you're from Louisiana, so why is this important to you to push for this?
Oh gosh, think of all those families that were so affected by the Great Flood, some of whom have still not finished recovering, some of whom still have trailers in their front yards. You go by those trailers, you understand the importance. We need as much as possible to keep this from happening again. It is for those families, but those families are us. We are our community. If we take care of our community, they are taken care of. We're all cared for.
All right, and then is there anything else you'd like to add? Any things in the work or anything in the works going on at the Capitol? Any other information?
Well, the big news is going to be the appointment of a Supreme Court justice, and that will occur tonight. The president has invited me, among others, to the White House for the announcement. I'm hoping that means he's going to pick the woman from New Orleans. But Supreme Court nominee is going to be very important for the future of our country. I think the 4 people who are the finalists are all very good, and each will represent the Constitution well, if you will.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add this morning?
I think that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back.